This is super important, this place to us. It's spiritually important, but culturally important. You see the water behind me here. It's what it's all about. Once that water comes in here, you've got the birds coming in, and there's a whole cultural platform that surrounds that. You know, that's bringing our own mob in, and listening to the birds is just beautiful. Being out here puts you in a different space, and introducing people from far afield and even your next door neighbours into this place gives you that great relief, but also gives you so much passion for your country, because your country's singing out for you to actually tell its story, you know, tell why it's here. So Narran, water has always been important to Narran, and it's part of the way that the name suggests. Narran is the fork of the tree, so Narra is part of the branching of the water, which it does in a lot of these braided streams out here. So it's such an important place, and the massive impacts on it is part of the reason why our Joint Management Committee is really looking forward to having a long relationship with not only with researchers but with government departments, and, you know, even if there's philanthropic people that want to look at our place and help us manage country. This place is of great reverence to us and to those bird life that come here from far afield, you know, as far as Siberia, and we want to make sure that those birds that do come here have that refuge, and it's in a pristine position for them to forage from an ecological point of view, but from a cultural point of view, it's also a place where a lot of the birds come to nest, and we eat those birds, we eat those eggs, so we continue our culture. We're sitting on a beautiful big shell midden as we speak. If we don't have water in this lake, we don't have these shell middens. So the two, the land and the water, talk to each other, and we're the bridge between them, and we love practicing our culture out here. But those impacts are real, and those impacts are been, you know, exacerbated with the way that the weather has changed right across the world. But from a more local perspective, we're really finding it very difficult to try and make up the difference in the challenges that we have to start to look at planning through our strategic plan on the place to make sure that our culture continues.
Old people made the grinding plates to carry with them. Feel how light it is.
Yeah.
This would be bigger. Stay carrying a big heavy rock through it. You can see they would have made this out of gum. Out of the trees. There's 5 different trees you get the gum and they mix together and heat it up.
Yeah.
It's sort of cement.
And
See the same.
fossilized.
You can see the same. Most of the shells. Feel how smooth it is.
Yeah.
Especially growing the seeds out. So the bits and pieces broken all over the place. Amazing place, isn't it? Like, stay out here, live out here, you know. These are some of the old stone artefacts that the old people left here. You can see it's been sitting around the old fire up, and you can see the blades on them there. This rock doesn't come from here, so probably traded with the old people that came in. And we're just leaving there to show people. And it's right along this area. Just imagine how many people lived out here.
Narran Lakes played a great part of our life. As a young girl growing up here, my grandfather was a fencer on the adjoining property. It was called Moordale now, but back then it was called Murrindar. And we grew up on there. My father was always busy, brought us over to the lake, but the lake was always full. There was abundance of food on the lake. There was ducks, you could get a duck when you wanted, yabbies. Growing up in Walgett and living out, then moved to Lightning Ridge, every weekend you could not get a fishing spot on the Narran River. It was packed because the water kept running. The drought would have been about 4 years ago now. It was a bad drought. I think we had a 7-year drought, 6 or 7 years. Everything dried up. The river system was absolutely disgusting. Like, I like to see that lake full at all times. This lake behind me, that's only just from rain. The water of the Narran Lake or the Narran River do not run in these back lakes. It stops. And if you go over here, over there, that's where the ligament is. And the ligament is for the ibis, the nesting place for the ibis. And without the ligament, the ibis won't come. We had no ibis here for the last 5 or 6 years. It was bad. Not one bit of green grass was out here. Animals was dying. Like we've seen where they got a shady tree and they pull all the, brushing all the dirt away to get to the coolest spot underneath a tree. Then they'll die, perish, because no water. Climate change, no water, and a drought. The trees are dying around us. The Narran Lakes here was all cracked in the middle of it. But the only thing I'm just thinking about is these trees. Because without trees, we won't get water. Because the trees hold a great play for the water system to come down. It should be all luscious trees. When it first kicked off in here, it was just beautiful pines. When you look at it now, yeah, like I said, make you cry to see how the pines are now. You see it on the trees, mark on trees. It'll tell you how far the water was up, then how far it dropped. The tree tells the story of the water systems. Well, the main thing I want to see, the cultural flows. There should be cultural flows every so often, because the majority of the Indigenous people, like I said, lived off the river. If you haven't got that cultural flow, what have you got? You got nothing. The lakes will go dry, the rivers will go dry. The water's our blood. The river is a part of a vein that goes through us.
Dave, take it out on Dave. The secret's out. What are you doing flying oysters to people? Back door and stuff, eh? Back door gig.
Everyone out here on the reed.
Yeah, you used to flying oysters everyone. Yeah, we can get going for a bit of a walk. Just watch it might be stuck.
Yeah.
It might be hot. So just, yeah.
This is, I said, oh, you better take that back where you got it from, bud.
Oh, okay.